our lineup. Today on The Now, we are talking about bullying and how best to deal with it in light of this video. Check it out.
Leave my daughter alone, and I mean it.
A mom confronting her daughter's bully at school, how parents should be dealing with this growing issue. Plus, some adorable puppies as our pets' health is getting new attention. We're checking out ways to save on food and medical care. And you may be holding on to childhood toys thinking they'll be worth a lot someday. How to find out if they'll actually have some value.
Police in Kokomo want to know if you have seen this man. He is wanted for a convenience store robbery. Now, officers say he held up the One Stop Express store on North Washington Street in Kokomo Thursday morning. He was wearing a mask during the holdup, but police later found surveillance video of the man. They believe it's the suspect outside the store before the robbery. He was not wearing a mask at that time. If you think you know who this is, you can call Central Indiana Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. It's 1-800-262-TIP. And two Southern Indiana judges wounded in a shooting in downtown Indianapolis are both home from the hospital. Clark County Circuit Court Judge Andrew Adams returned home yesterday. Judge Bradley Jacobs went home earlier this week. They'd been in Indianapolis recovering from the May 1st shooting. Police say an argument between the judges and two other men led to gunfire in a White Castle parking lot. Prosecutors say more evidence is needed before they can decide whether to file any charges in this case. Well, some scary moments for a handful of people who were on a school bus that caught fire. Check out these pictures from Bartholomew County. This bus caught fire just before 6:30 this morning near the intersection of Bartholomew County roads 550 West and 550 South. Two students and the driver were on board. All three made it off the bus safely. The Sheriff's Department is still trying to figure out what caused the fire. A massive fire at a home in Carmel this morning was likely related to the weather, according to firefighters on the scene. Carmel fire crews spent several hours fighting this fire near Jordan Road and Keystone Parkway. They were called just after 3 o'clock this morning. Investigators say the home appeared to be vacant at the time. No injuries were reported. The Carmel Fire Department says it responded to more than 80 calls overnight, which is more than they typically get over an entire day. Kyle.
And Amanda, we had another thunderstorm around the airport earlier this afternoon. That one sliding off on the south side of town. But as we look around central Indiana right now, we see some clouds, not a whole lot in the way of rain activity out there for us. Still could see a couple of isolated showers or thunderstorms, though. Let's take you to Storm Team 6 radar, where, again, things are fairly quiet. We've got that complex of thunderstorms that's moving through Cincinnati into northern portions of Kentucky. That's right now where the best severe weather threat is. And then we have just a couple of isolated showers here in southeastern White County and also south and east of Peru at this point. So most areas nice and dry and a little bit on the warm side this afternoon as we've made it back into the 80s in Indianapolis, Bloomington at 83, 77 for you with those mostly cloudy skies in Kokomo and a west breeze. Heading off to Victory Field for the Indians game this evening. First pitch is going to be warm with temperatures in the middle 70s, but I think you're going to be in pretty good shape weather-wise there. Just a small chance for a pop-up shower or storm. Temperatures that will still be in the 70s right on through 10 o'clock. Coming up, we're going to talk about a warm start to the weekend here. Sunday, though, brings another severe weather threat to central Indiana before those temperatures drop next week. Kamasi.
Let's get our first look at the news feed. Today, President Trump says he's lifting import taxes on Canadian and Mexican steel and aluminum. He's also delaying any decision to impose tariffs on imported cars and auto parts for 6 months. That sets up a tight deadline for trade deal negotiations between the U.S. and the European Union. The president says if no agreement is reached, he would decide whether and what further action needs to be taken. New numbers out today show that suicide rates in girls are rising, especially in those between 10 to 14 years old. Researchers at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus found rates for girls are outpacing boys, changing the pattern that boys are more likely to die by suicide and that girls are more likely to consider and attempt it. Today, a U.S. appeals court ruled that President Trump cannot end protections for dreamers, immigrants who were brought into the country illegally as children. This is the second time the administration has lost an appeal on the issue. 3 people are facing charges in connection with the death of a pregnant woman. Marlon Ochoa Lopez was killed when she went to a woman's home to pick up baby clothes after responding to a post about free items on Facebook. These days, it's not uncommon to find things for sale or exchange on places like Facebook, even Craigslist and other apps. So how do you know if it's safe to meet the seller or buyer? Police departments around the country are now allowing people to use their lobbies so they can take care of these transactions in a safe place. There's also designated designated parking lots. Apps like OfferUp even have their own designated meetup spaces. After entering your current location, the app will find places closest to you that are brightly lit and have video cameras. The video recorded is accessible to police. And if you can't quite make it to a police station, police say any public space will do, as long as there are a lot of people and traffic around. A bank is also a good alternative, especially if you're exchanging expensive items and not using cash. The bank can act as a middleman to ensure those funds are available. Also, try not to go alone and always have a phone on you during the transaction. Back to our lineup and the growing issue of bullying. Families don't always know the best way to help. We're getting answers on this after one mom made headlines for confronting her daughter's bullies at school.
At Ross, yes for less.
Welcome back. What if you found out you could reduce your risk of developing dementia? The World Health Organization thinks they may know how. This week, the WHO released its first ever set of recommendations to reduce the global risk of the debilitating disease. The main takeaways in the guidelines are to exercise more and maintain a healthy diet. They also recommend staying away from tobacco, limiting your alcohol content, and maintaining a healthy blood pressure. As one expert puts it, what's good for your heart is probably good for your brain too. And everyone knows drinking too much sugary soda is not good for you. But hold up, before reaching for a bottle of juice instead. A new study says even though the sugar in fruit juice occurs naturally, it's just as bad for you as sweetened drinks. Scientists reviewed existing stroke data for more than 13,000 adults. They discovered people who get 10% or more of their daily calories from any sugary beverage increase their risk of premature death by 14%. The increase in the premature death from coronary heart disease is 44%. That's because sugary beverages are thought to increase insulin resistance and cause weight gain around the waist.
Y'all think y'all bullies? I'm the big bully, okay? Let that be known and understand that. Leave my daughter alone and I mean it.
That mom is now banned from her daughter's school, and it brings up a conversation about how to deal with bullies. Corey Rangel is getting perspective on that.
Y'all think y'all bullies? I'm the big bully, okay? Let that be known and understand that. Leave my daughter alone and I mean it.
Fed up with boys bullying her daughter, this mother in California confronted the 8th grade boys inside her daughter's classroom. Video of it was provided to CBS Los Angeles.
Sisters, aunts, anybody over 18, I'll them all up. Do you understand me? Leave my daughter alone.
Christian Tinsley says for months, several boys bullied her daughter. The mother says she complained to the school, but the bullying did not stop.
She made a comment to me that if she wasn't as strong as she was, she would have killed herself. And so that's when Mama Bear mode went into effect.
Tinsley admits she may not have handled it the best way, but felt she needed to take action.
Sometimes you have to decide if you're willing to go a step further and deal with any consequences. And I was prepared for that because my daughter is number one.
I have compassion and empathy for this mom.
Donna Clark-Love is an expert on bullying. She worries the mother's actions could end up making it worse for the daughter.
There's going to be blame, and then there's going to be support. People will take sides. And I think that instead of stopping it, I think it could cause more pain for her and her daughter.
Donna says if parents feel a school is not doing enough, they should not confront students, but instead address the issue directly with the principal.
Unless this stops today and you do more, I'm going to the superintendent. I will go to the press. I will do whatever I need to do to help my child.
The local sheriff's office has now been asked to investigate the case. I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
Thanks, Corey. Back to our lineup and a free offer to improve pets' health. We're checking out ways to save on food and medical care.
At martinacura.com.
We start the news feed with a Massachusetts high school teacher arrested, accused of planting a bullet inside his school. Police say the teacher said he did it to prove the school needed metal detectors, but in court, his defense attorney said there was no such admission. Well, now he's facing several charges. The mayor of Washington, D.C. is speaking out against President Trump's proposed changes to this year's 4th of July celebration there. According to the Washington Post, the president tentatively wants to move the celebrations from the National Mall, and he may even speak at the event. The mayor says she's concerned about the security strain on local law enforcement. The Game of Thrones series finale, it airs on Sunday, and a new survey from software company Kronos found it will create the biggest storm of workplace disruption since the Super Bowl. Researchers say 27.2 million employees who plan to watch the finale live also plan to call out sick, show up late, or even work from home the next day. Grief is coming out in the open thanks to a new Netflix show. Annie Taylor is here with how it's bringing people together to deal with their losses.
Kamasi, the show is called Dead to Me. Christina Applegate plays a woman who lost her husband. Now, she's part of a grief support group and goes on a grief retreat in one episode. We talked with Rebecca Sofer, who co-founded the blog Modern Loss, after losing both her parents when she was in her early 30s. Since then, Modern Loss has become a book, a Facebook group where people can connect, and even a storytelling tour. Now, Sofer says that having that community is so important, and it helps people who are grieving know that they're not alone, and also that their loss doesn't define them. Now, the online community allows people to stay anonymous if they want to, but for people who want an in-person experience, Modern Loss hosts grief retreats.
We have 4 days, and we do everything from writing exercises to exercises that allow everybody to share what's on their minds. We always ask people to bring topics that they really want to talk about, that they don't feel that they can make space for in their daily existence.
Modern Loss's next grief retreat is in July, and you can actually learn more at the website you see here, crepalu.org.
Thanks, Annie. This weekend, Nicole Brown Simpson would have turned 60 years old. 25 years ago, her life and Ronald Goldman's life ended. Well, with so much attention on Simpson's ex-husband, there's a new exhibit that's opening today all about Nicole's life. It's at Alcatraz East Crime Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It was important to Nicole's sisters to include a domestic violence abuse component.
No one had any idea. No one had any idea it was going on until it had been going on for years, and finally a police report was filed, and then it sort of unraveled from there. But even then, she was so far in, she denied it a lot.
The exhibit includes resources for people experiencing domestic abuse. It will stay open through the summer.
Thanks, Kamasi. And debit cards are now more popular than credit cards because they work like cash. You can't overspend, and you don't have to worry about interest charges. Our John Matarese is working for you, showing us 2 places you should not use a debit card so you don't waste your money.
Debit or credit? That's a decision many of us have to make every day when we buy something. But in most cases, it turns out there's a simple answer. Debit cards are popular. They work just like cash. Unlike with credit cards, you don't have to worry about a big bill at the end of the month. So which is better? CreditKarma.com says debit helps you avoid overspending. You can only spend what's in the account. But credit cards have more flexibility. You can buy an expensive item now and pay it off over time. With credit, you build up your credit, and you can earn cash back rewards. One big downside, with credit cards, it's easy to fall behind and end up with huge interest charges if you're not careful. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, why debit cards are more risky, even though you're technically protected against fraud. If your debit card is hacked, the thieves can drain your bank account, and it can take weeks to get that money back. Doesn't that stink? For that reason, Credit Karma says avoid using debit cards at gas pumps or shopping online, where it's easy to be hacked. Bottom line, credit is safe for most cases, debit riskier if it's your main bank account, and that way don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese for RTV6.
We have quite a few clouds across central Indiana here on your Friday afternoon and evening, but very little in the way of rain. Storm Team 6 radar for us this afternoon. Yeah, we got to look pretty close here around Delphi. A little bit of a shower here. Not even detecting any lightning or thunder here with this. And also you can see just north of Marion, Indiana, one additional shower. That will continue to move through. You've got the clouds as well in Bloomington with temperatures in the lower 80s, 84 in Greenwood and 77 for you in the Kokomo area. As we look at that temperature trend, take you through the next 12 hours here, and those numbers are going to stay mild all night long, only dropping back into the middle 60s. So a nice launch pad for the upcoming weekend here, 65 by Saturday morning with partly cloudy skies and a light southwest wind. Tomorrow, your forecast will go from 66 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning to 81 already at noon. The breeze picks up a little bit throughout the afternoon, 15 to 20 miles per hour, but will continue to warm us into the middle 80s for that afternoon high as we gradually increase the clouds, but we're going to keep the rain chance out of Saturday. That is not the case on Sunday, though. Looks like Sunday will be a little bit soggy and stormy for us. Already that slight risk covering much of central Indiana that some of those storms, especially as we get into Sunday evening, could have some gusty winds, possibly some hail. But even Sunday mornings start off with a couple of showers around the area into the afternoon. If we do have a couple rounds of rain, this could impede our severe weather threat as we go into the evening, which really isn't a bad thing. Next 4 days of your forecast here, we've got that heat on Saturday at 86, 76 with showers and storms on Sunday, even a little bit cooler on Monday, but we rebound quickly, 73 and partly sunny Tuesday. Kamasi.
A pet food trade-in event this weekend is bringing awareness to the fact that people are taking better care of their animals. Petco is allowing people to bring any cat or dog food with artificial ingredients and swap it for artificial-free food. Well, veterinarians recommend when you do switch an animal's food, you have to do it gradually. Healthier food could also be more expensive, though. Collectively, Americans spent $30 billion on pet food last year. If you want to save, you can subscribe to Walmart or Chewy's reoccurring pet food delivery service because both of those come with discounts. Veterinary visits and regular care are the second highest cost. That can be offset with pet insurance, which can help with emergencies and with prescriptions. And check with your employer, too. 10% offer pet insurance as a benefit. And if you're considering getting an animal, adoption is going to be cheaper up front. Well, puppies and kittens are cute, we know, but an older animal may come with a cheaper adoption fee. So when you foster, if you decide to foster, the rescue group will continue to pay for medical treatment and medications. Have you ever watched a movie that takes place on a plane and you wonder, where did they film that? Our Chris Welch got an inside look at a very unique warehouse that specializes in creating that perfect yet fake in-flight experience.
Some of the most iconic scenes.
Oh man, it's great. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. From our favorite films and shows.
Jonah?
I just like the song so much.
Take place in the air.
I'm tired of people telling me what I can't do.
But chances are they were filmed on the ground, right here in a warehouse near San Fernando, California.
We can put almost any chairs. We can put first class economy. We can put anything in here.
What was filmed in here?
Airplane. The movie Airplane was filmed right here with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Robert Hayes.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Any kind of scene related to air travel, from security.
Well, this is a familiar sight.
Yes.
Stand in here, put your arms up.
To the interiors of a plane.
And we also filmed Bridesmaids right here.
Can be done right here at Air Hollywood.
I enjoy aviations, and I'm an aviation geek.
It's the brainchild of Talat Kaptan, a former movie producer who came up with the idea after facing so many challenges anytime he wanted to do a plane scene.
From, like, you name it, trying to get into an airport or trying to get an airplane, it was just really a challenge. Then I realized there's an opportunity here.
He keeps their 5 aircraft sets in as close to working order as possible, from cockpit electronics to overhead bins.
So I can be told my bag is too large for the overhead? Just
right, exactly.
Kaptan is so into it, he's even built a replica 1970s Pan Am.
And they really dress up like they're going on the flight, like in the old days.
Where they offer a weekly experience for the public, dinner and a movie. Here, they really have thought of everything.
The entire platform here on the airplane is built on airbags and hydraulics. We can lift it up and we can shake it a lot. And literally, if I close the windows and I put this sound effect on and then shake start playing, you definitely think you're on an airplane.
But hopefully not this airplane.
Don't worry. It's going to be over.
Reporting near San Fernando, California, I'm Chris Welch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Back to our lineup. You've heard of people cashing in toys from their childhood, but it's pretty hard to know what's worth saving. Well, we have an easy way that you can tell next on The Now.